What's up?
How are you?
Good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. This is exciting.
I know where you are, and I love the color of that wall.
Oh,
but
thank
it
you.
does look a little like you've been forced to be part of this broadcast.
What? Oh, does it really? No. I mean, it's so pretty.
I know it. There we go.
There we go. See?
I mean, that wall. I love that wall. It's long.
It is. We need to decorate it. We haven't had the time.
Carla, we are. It's almost November, which would mean we're only about a month away from the Big Picture Leadership Conference.
Yes. In San Diego.
In San Diego.
27th.
That's right. Which, among other things, will feature another iteration of Leadership Journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And if folks don't know what Leadership Journeys is, I would suggest you go to bigpicture.org/influence.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Nice. And if you haven't registered, register for Leadership Conference. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, because the registration will close. Well, there's 2 different dates people should know about. November 5th is the deadline to secure a hotel room.
Okay.
November 15th is the deadline to register. So important to know those things. But enough of our plugging. We have a really cool guest today who I think at various times on A Cup of Joy we've talked about Harbor Freight, Big Picture, B Unbound, a number of different initiatives. Today's guest has been involved in a number of them. Nice. And she's a recent graduate of the Big Picture Learning Network, which makes her part of the Big Picture Alumni Association, right?
Exactly. And just to also hear that like alum are interested in continuing the work, I think is super special. So I can't wait to talk to her.
All right, let's bring Maddie on. What's up, Maddie? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm a little sick today.
Well, good thing that we try to keep Cup of Joy nice and quick so that if you have to like jet off and say like no more, hopefully take it out in the next 10 minutes. Welcome to more people should actually be drinking from cups, from mugs during this broadcast, I think.
We should. We used to have it as a thing.
I mean, water, that's fine. Carla, why don't you kick us off, because you are one of the co-founders of the Alumni Association.
Yes. Great. No, yeah. So Maddie, I'm super. So what year first I want to start. What year did you graduate? What school did you attend? And then what brought you back to Big Picture Learning, I think is how I'd want to start.
Ooh, okay. So I went to the Met High School and I was on the Peace Street campus. Go Peace Street. And I have my t-shirt on today. And you can see that I'm class of 2021, baby.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Recently. And what brought me back into working with Big Picture is, well, I really saw how transformational it was for my life, not only in terms of academics, but in terms of like mental health and wellness. It was the first time that I really felt like I was part of a community where I belonged, no matter who I was.
That's beautiful. And so tell me a little bit about the work that you do. So are you an intern? What was like the first step in the direction? Were you like, hey, let me just email someone? Did someone bring you in? Like, tell me the tea.
Okay, so when I was in high school, I got to work a lot with Kurt Holland, who was working for the Harbor Freight Fellows as like the maritime person. Mm-hmm. And we were chatting and I was talking about being Filipino. And he was like, oh, I should introduce you to Anthonette. And so Anthonette is the director of B Unbound. And so I got to chatting with her and I started at, I think, like 5 to 10 hours a week of just doing whatever extra projects that she had in mind. And it just grew and grew over time. And now I'm doing 30 hours a week for B Unbound and Harbor Freight Fellows.
That is so exciting. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm glad to be here. Honestly.
Yeah, please go ahead. Keep going.
I mean, it's just, I saw like my friends who didn't go to the Met. So before I went to the Met, I transferred there my senior year from a different high school in Providence. And so I like seeing where those friends are at and where my Met friends are at. A lot of people I know like who chose to go directly to college after high school are going and they don't know really what they want to do. They're finding, oh, like I'm an undeclared because I don't know what major I want to have, or oh, I'm just going to pick this because I know that you can make a lot of money. And I feel like traditional high school doesn't really allow for that self-exploration and that self-knowledge to really determine what you want to do in your future. And I'm very grateful that I got to go to the Met, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to explore at all. And I wouldn't know, like, hey, I love to sail, or hey, like, this is the good work. This is what I want to do with my life.
I was just going to say, I think that what's beautiful about being alum is that we do get that perspective, right? Where we get the opportunity to really explore our passions and interests. And there is something powerful about being able to have that translate into your work. Whereas I feel folks who don't have that experience kind of just go into like careers or jobs or school for a financial, gain versus something that's like fulfilling, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And then it turns out like that college culture where it's like, oh, like you have to go and try to get into the best college that you can possibly get into, and you're not allowed to take a gap year. It's like, I haven't gone to college yet, and I don't know if or when I will plan to. And that's okay, because going to the Met, I was surrounded by people who were very open to different alternative post-secondary plans. So I felt like so shoehorned into, oh, you have to go to college, you have to go to for 4 years, and you have to get this degree to do this job.
I would love to back up because you'd mentioned something and I don't want to skip over it. I want to talk about your Harbor Freight experience, especially the maritime experience you had. And while you're talking, I hope you don't mind, I'm just going to sort of like play this because I've seen the footage. It's pretty cool. Maddie, talk about what we're looking at right now.
So this is me aboard the SSV Oliver Hazard Perry in Newport, Rhode Island. And before I graduated, I was on a different ship, and I had called up the captain of this boat. So this is where I did a lot of the programs while I was still in high school. And I was like, hey, captain, I want to work for you. And he was like, okay, you're hired. And I'm like, really? I was like, yeah. So I think a week after I came home and graduated, I was on this boat, and this is some clips of me working.
What is the Harbor Freight Fellowship?
So Harbor Freight Fellowship, I think we've expanded the definition to allow for different age ranges, but it's basically where a high school senior with a demonstrated commitment to a trade is able to go and mentor under someone who works professionally in that trade and get compensated for it.
Nice. Since you're familiar now on this side of the work, what are some of the other types of fellowships that you know that Harbor Freight Fellows have been part of?
Definitely like automotive, electrical, plumbing. I'm happy to see that there are more people who are into maritime doing this. That's always a plus for me. But it's really open to any trade like you could think possible, like even like aviation.
Wow.
While we're on the topic of aviation, I think we should shout out Beth White here because she's really shepherding a lot of young people, especially young females, into aviation careers. It's terribly inspiring. I love it. Carly, were you about to say something?
No, I'm just in awe because seeing we offer just so many experiences and opportunities for folks, and I'm just like, this is dope. Like, I know you're like, you're taking a gap year, but look at the experience that you have. I just mind blown. So question, I think, Chris, were you going to segue into B Unbound, or were we going to still stay with Harbor Freight?
I mean, that seems like a pretty good segue itself, Carla, like making it look like I was going to do something. So I'll take the initiative. Go ahead.
Okay, Matt. So tell me a little bit about B Unbound, because I know you're working with both.
Yeah. So for me, the only reason that I was able to do all of these like kick-ass programs on a boat was because I went to a big picture learning school, and that was the culture that was fostered there. And I thought that it was terribly unfair that you could only do those things if you go to the Met. So what B Unbound does is it takes that big picture learning framework, right, where you have a student and then you have someone who's like closely advising them, and then you send them off to learn from a professional in the real world. We take that framework and that system and remove the school portion of it. So you can sign up for B Unbound no matter where you are, what school you go to, your gender, age, race, geographic location, anything like that.
That is incredible. And is it nationwide, or are there like specific hubs where you're operating from?
So we are available nationwide. So any student from anywhere could sign up. Although most of our opportunities in person are available on the East Coast and the West Coast.
Nice.
And I'd also like to shout out that we are doing some work in Spain. So B Unbound España exists.
What? When was this?
Oh gosh, I remember seeing them pop up in the Discord maybe like months ago.
In the Discord, tell me a little bit more about that. Is that where y'all hang?
Yeah, so part of Be Unbound, it recognizes that it's not just about getting students connecting to adults and mentors in their communities, but also connecting students to students. And so we have this Discord server where it's our navigators ages 14 to 24. Everyone can come and hang out, and we have different channels for different topics. And we've been getting a lot more engagement recently, and that's so nice to see.
Wow. Can I join? Like,
invite link.
Over your FOMO.
I think you might have graduated into supportive adults, Carla. I think you've aged out of.
That's true. That's
the
true.
Youth component.
Wow.
Well, we also use the Discord for our meetings that we have with different community organizations. So there are some adults in there.
Ooh, let me know when y'all make it into the metaverse. I will join those calls. I'm just kidding.
The one thing I love about Be Unbound, like the naming conventions, the young person is a navigator, and what we would call a mentor in Big Picture is a co-navigator, because it really recognizes that it's a journey that's taken together. I think too often in education we think like once you get to a certain level you're the expert, and then the young person is just there to kind of learn behind you, and that's the antithesis of Be Unbound. So I love it.
Right. I've always thought of the structure in very Bodhi terms. Excuse the Bodhiness of what I'm about to say. But I've always pictured the navigator as like the captain. So they're the person like who's directing, okay, we're going to go here, we're going to go here. They really have that self-determination for their education. And their co-navigator, I think of as like the first mate. So that's going to be like at the Met, like your advisor. So they're going to be like, okay, what do you want to study? How long do you have to meet with supportive adults? What are you into? Let's find some opportunities. And so they're kind of like that support role. And I've always viewed the supportive adult, who is the person who is out in the community teaching like the actual hard skills, as the chief engineer.
All right, Maddie, I'm going to put you on the spot, because yesterday I was looking at the attendee list for the leadership conference. I saw your name. I know you were also at Big Bang. So if you were to give an elevator pitch for someone for why they should attend a Big Picture conference, what would you say?
Oh, so I just recently went to my first non-Big Picture Learning conference, and no hate to anyone who organized it or was involved, but it was just not the same vibe. So the Big Picture Learning events, they're super like heart to hearts. You come as who you are and not your job title or your role in your organization. So it's very down to earth, and they're just so much fun, and you can learn a lot along the way.
Nice.
I love it.
All right. We try to keep these things short. Maddie, we thank you for your time. And moreover, thank you for the work that you're doing to further the Big Picture initiatives that you're a part of.
You're welcome.
Yes, it was great chatting with Maddie.
For being in Big Picture Learning and making it possible for young people like me.
For sure. All right. I hate that part. I just like kicked her out as like later. You're out of here.
Bye.
You know what? You know what I loved about Maddie as an example of so many Big Picture students and graduates that we've run into is once you've been to a Big Picture school, you realize how easy it is to actually just ask people, can I do this? Right? Can I work with you? Can I be part of this? Because who's going to say no?
Exactly. I think we are, we just have so much experience, not just asking, but going for it. That it's incredible. And we need to hire her. What are we doing? Yo, she's advocating this. Maddie, I love you. That was incredible. I wish I could speak like that. Comes to like the fellowships I support. I freeze up.
All right.
Okay, Chris.
Another episode of the Cup of Joy Cafe has come to an end.
Unfortunately. I appreciate spending time with you always.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Okay. Make it a great day or not, folks. The choice is yours, and we'll see you sometime soon.
Bye.
Bye.